Hello, welcome to Killing Time. This is the show that searches for entertainment that does not suck. My name is Iyaz, and I'm frantically trying to find my notes because with me, as always, is the man who can frequently be found around me. Make sure his cat has no tick or flea, knows that Arbor Day is all about the tree. In his last name, there is only one G, knows Ernest Hemingway, wrote Old Man in the Sea, had mixed feelings when he found out Buffy's sister was the key, the co-host of the show, JB. Now... What does JB stand?
That is excellent.
Well, hang on a second. I actually got locked out of my computer.
You're not done?
I'm not done. Hang on.
Oh, wow.
So right now, I don't know what you're seeing because I got locked out. I guess my computer went to sleep. So I hope it recorded that.
That would be
What
hilarious.
does JB stand for? Well, I'll tell you. Truth, Justice, and the Americans... Sorry, Truth, Justice, and for Americans getting a good job. That's right, a good job. JB stands for Just Bob. Took me a long time to get that all out, but there you go. There we go. Now, why on earth would I go through this much effort to do an introduction? Because this is going to be the most entertaining thing we're going to be talking about in this episode for today.
What are we talking about then? Something bad, I'm guessing.
We're talking about The Nun. Now, this is the trailer for The Nun, so make sure you watch to the end, they say. And if you know The Nun, or of The Nun, it's part of the Conjuring universe. I believe it's the 5th movie in this whole Conjuring stuff. It started off with Conjuring 1, and I believe Annabelle and then Conjuring 2, or one of those happened first. Then there was a second Annabelle called Creation, and this is the follow-up. This is The Nun, and I believe in one of the Conjurings, one of the evil spirits that you see in a picture is a nun, and it's really freaky.
I believe it was Conjuring 2. I believe the second one had the nun in it.
Yeah, that's right, because she also kind of throws somebody into a tree or something like that.
Right.
Now, The Nun takes place in 1952, okay? And it takes place in the location of Romania. We're following a nun, we're following a guide, and we're following a priest who's looking to investigate a suicide at a habit. What do you call these places where you keep nuns? Convent. Yeah, habit's what they wear. It's not the nunnery. That's like it's not a cannery. It's a.
It's not a cannery.
At the convent, there was a suicide.
So is there an origin story of the nun, or is she already established?
Okay.
By the way, spoilers, everybody. You know.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna hit the button.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much, I think everything I talked about up to that point was a part of the trailer. So there's really nothing to fear there. When it comes to the nun, the film doesn't tell you necessarily where the evil comes from, but where it resided, I guess, before it moved on and tried to leave the one area in Romania where it was.
Okay.
So what we have in this story is, I'm going to say the most positive thing about this film is it could be like my first horror movie. That's what this movie is.
Okay.
If you've never seen like any horror movies, this will set up all the stuff you should be afraid of in every other horror movie because it uses all the other stuff you've seen. Shadowy figure. Disappeared. The lights went out. Because it's Romania in 1952, obviously it's all candles. So candles are going, they're out. Oh no. The door closed. What's happening? I'm seeing weird visions. No. It's like, okay, look. I know that the guys behind The Conjuring, and I know that James Wan co-wrote this, and we talked about him with Aquaman last week. Not with Aquaman, about Aquaman. Aquaman was not there. And this film was, I wouldn't say paint by numbers. It's just kind of, there's nothing new about it. And that's not necessarily bad. It's well acted, it's well directed, it's well shot. It has the same kind of tension that's being built, but it's very systematic. It feels like something you've seen before. And, you know, I've seen movies where they will kind of do a lot of borrowing. The Conjuring is very similar to The Exorcist. And The Exorcist is, if you watch The Exorcist now, you'd be like, how on earth is there like an hour and a half where nothing happens? Like this girl's having a party with her mom, and you're like...
Yeah, you could cut the first, if I remember, like the first half an hour out of that, and you wouldn't change the movie.
You change the pacing significantly.
Yeah, The Omen is the same way. Great movie, but same thing. The setup is just so long. But I guess they're building suspense. Rosemary's Baby is very similar. A lot of building. In
the older films, the older horror movies, you do have this luxury, it seems like, that you don't have to have a scare every 10 minutes.
Right.
And The Nun doesn't have a scare every 10 minutes. It does have a bit of, I wouldn't say jump scares, maybe like one or two. Yeah. So I'm not even crapping on the story. The story's pretty basic. There's a nun. There's an evil spirit, and she happens to take the shape of a nun because it lives at a convent site. And the reason why the convent's there is because they will pray to avoid this thing being released to the world. Okay. That's pretty good.
Okay, that's interesting. I can see it.
Yeah, and so the Vatican's like, hey, somebody died over there, and nuns aren't supposed to kill themselves, so what's up with that? You got to go find out what's going on. You have some experience with this. Go out there, okay? He says, all right. He goes, do I got to go alone? And they're like, no, bring this lady. And she's actually the sister of the woman who plays one of the Conjuring leads. Every time I see her name, all I think her name is veal parmesan. That's not her name.
Parmesan.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
I'm going to find the name, so hang tight while I look up veal parmesan, which is not her name.
No. She is the lady that was on the Psycho show on TV.
Oh,
Amy,
yeah.
I forget. Yeah, Bates Motel.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's still not getting her name. What is her name? Here it comes, everybody. Vera Farmiga. That's why she's veal parmesan.
Veal parmesan. Parmesan.
And her sister plays the nun. Well, the nice nun, the non-evil nun. I'm going to try to go back to the trailer, see if you can find Sister of Veal.
Her sister who was in American Horror Story.
Yeah. So, right now, you can see her. There you go. She looks very much like Veal. And I'm really sorry, lady. Vera, you got a great name.
She's actually a very good actress.
Oh, I'm not doubting that.
I'm sorry we're hitting on that.
It's like my brain. Now, I will give you guys some insight into my brain. When I read Harry Potter, the first book ever, of the book, not my first book ever, but when I saw the word Hermione, I did not know how it was pronounced. So in my head, every time I would see it, I would hear this. That's it. It'd be like, Harry and Ron went to this thing. Because I saw the word, but I had no sound associated with it.
Yeah, I do that with a lot of the weird fantasy novels I read because the names are just like, what the hell is that? How do you even pronounce that?
Yeah, you're like, okay, that's Humperdoo now. But it's actually not. I got static. I got nothing but static in my head for Hermione. And now veal parmesan, which I know is not your name, Vera, I'm sorry.
She will always be known on this show as veal parmesan.
You're a great actress, too. I'm not denying that. Anyway, so we go back to this whole Conjuring universe. You got this whole 5 movies. This is the 5th one. It's dull, and it's boring, and it's got this feeling of, like, good God, like I said, if you've never seen a horror movie before, you're like, well, this is interesting. But if you've seen
anything,
if you've seen the other Conjuring universe stuff, you know this format already. That's what's even more annoying, that it's a part of this series, and you're like, well, of course it's going to go that way. And of course, you know, there's something has to happen because if this is a prequel and we see the nun later, she's got to get out somehow. So, so you do have that inevitability, but it's just standard, like, oh, wow, who's that spooky voice? What's this? It's just spooky.
Now, I hear you saying, you know, standard fare, whatever. Well, obviously saying not a movie theater type movie. You're not going to pay money to see this, but is it decent enough if it's on Netflix or something to throw it on?
Ish,
okay.
Remember how you were telling me Like Father was something to watch in the background?
Yes.
Now, I watched that film. You were 100% correct. I believe you could watch this movie, The Nun, while reading a book, while doing the dishes. But the thing is, you're going to miss some of the sight gags of the shadowy figure going away. You're going to miss...
Right.
I mean, you'll hear the doors get closed. You hear the screaming. But there's just a little visual gags you might miss. But otherwise, I don't think... You definitely don't need to see this in the theater. I did, because I have this movie pass from, like, Cinemia. You get them real cheap, so I watched them cheap. And it was... Yeah, it's a horror movie. I love horror movies. I really wanted to like this. So I don't want you guys to think, hey, this guy hates horror movies. That's furthest thing from the truth. I love finding great horror movies. But this one, like I said, first horror movie, you know, maybe if my 8-year-old wants to watch it, maybe that would be fine. It'd be like, okay,
it's a good, you know, introduction to horror movies.
It's a training wheels kind of thing. And
training wheels, I gotcha.
With that, I'm going to go and talk to our patrons. Hey, everybody, thanks for being on board. If you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/Iyaz. If you've been watching this show, you might go, hey, wasn't that list longer? It was at one point, so thanks to Joe, Michelle, and Alan for still being there. Now, some names that were on this list, they should still be here, but their payment was declined, so technically I'm not supposed to put your name up there, which is kind of a weird thing. So if that's you, feel free to join this list. And if you're like, hey, wait a second, there's a lot of space, I want my name up there, go to patreon.com/Iyaz to find out how you receive video credit for everything, not for everything, but on everything we do at this show and hopefully future shows, because if we get this thing up to a certain number, show number 2 happens, and it'll be nice. Anyway, thank you to everybody at patreon.com/Iyaz for supporting the show so much. And these are the guys who get video credit. There's a lot more people who are supporting us with dollars and $5 support, so thank you for that so much. All right, let's talk about good old Henry Cavill. You know Henry Cavill.
Who was, well, he had good and bad in the last week. Just signed on to a Netflix show, The Witcher, and then obviously the big news is no longer Superman.
That's possible.
Possible. Granted, it's not guaranteed, but there's definitely something going on.
The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Henry Cavill is out of being Superman because he was supposed to do a cameo in Shazam, and he couldn't make it work with his scheduling. And I'm pretty sure he made this face, if I can show it. I can't show it. Dagnabbit. You know what face this is. I'll show it to you later.
Yep, the one he posted. Yep.
So what do you think of this news? We've got reports already that Ben Affleck is likely out as Batman, Bruce Wayne. We've got Henry Cavill potentially getting the boot. So you've got your 2 out of the top 3 leaving.
I mean, I think when you have this core of heroes that you're dealing with and you have the main stars leaving, it's almost time you either have to change your focus on different heroes or you have to consider rebooting the entire thing, especially with the train wreck it's been since they started.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think recasting is really the thing at this point. I mean, I don't think it's worth it. If you had a great, in Marvel, since you have such a great story you've been building on, you almost have to consider recasting like they did with, Incredible Hulk. But with this, because it's been such a hodgepodge of crap, you got to figure, let's cut our losses. Wonder Woman's good. Let's see how Aquaman is. Maybe we start from scratch.
No. I'll do you one better. Okay?
Okay.
Because this is based on DC Comics. And as we know as longtime comic book readers, that DC, they like to have crises every now and then, right?
On Infinite Earths?
On Infinite Earths, no less. Now, we do have the potential, and this could be great if they did this. And they're not going to, because I'm saying this, just like I came up with a better Aquaman movie, and I did last week.
Which was awesome.
This week I'm going to explain that Flashpoint could be the moment where they can fix everything. Ooh. You can either let Superman die, which they already shot.
Yeah.
Or you could have him come back weird on the resurrection, and or you can get a Superman from a younger timeline or a different thing, a different part of the multiverse that joins in. Now, I've always thought that the crisis element is brilliant because the DC television shows don't line up at all with the movies, and you've got multiple Flashes running around, multiple Supermen. You've got a young Bruce Wayne in Gotham, which is not related necessarily to either one, but they're all the same characters.
Right.
They can easily explain this with patience. The Flashpoint might be the closest way to do it. Maybe they get stuck in that world, or the Flashpoint, when that happens, it changes everything. That Superman does not even appear on Earth until after the Flash shows up. Maybe the timelines shift and baby Kal-El does not show up until, I don't know, Barry's mother is dead. I don't know. One of those things. It's doable.
Yeah, you're saying so he ends up younger.
Yeah, you have him younger, and you can actually, maybe you can go backwards with the Batman. Or you can just go, look, they're not going to do the Injustice storyline. They were going full for it, and then they were like, nah, we're out of this.
Whoa, yeah.
They
pump the brakes.
Yeah, they left that so quickly. And I think that maybe they can save it if they wanted to. With the news, I don't know if you saw that photo of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're wondering what it looks like, guys, I'd love to show the photo. One, I probably can't find it. And two, it looks like Joaquin Phoenix with long hair. No makeup or anything. Maybe
no
he's
makeup.
Got, like,
He's
no Joker makeup anyway. Maybe he's wearing some foundation. And his name is Arthur. And Scorsese is attached to it. And maybe they just want to have... Maybe this was just that DCEU part, or DCU, and they're like, that's this part, and then we got our TV shows, and then we have this multiverse. Maybe we should be doing Elseworlds. If they can introduce Elseworlds as a concept, maybe they can do it.
It's tough.
It's a super hard sell.
I
no
mean,
pun intended.
and on the TV show, they have the multiple dimensions. And I wouldn't say they pulled it off well, but it's at least easy to follow.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I think Henry Cavill got screwed on this, by the way.
I totally do. I don't think... I actually, as he's moved up, every movie I've actually liked him a little bit more and more, and the guy fills out a suit. Jesus Christ. Well, he looks like a freaking Superman.
Even with the Man of Steel version of Superman where he was depressed and anxiety-ridden and everything, he still had this niceness behind the eyes, I will say.
Yeah.
And that shone through, because when we finally saw him act like the Christopher Reeve model, or the every other comic book version of Superman, almost every other one, when we saw him do that in Justice League, it was like a breath of fresh air. He was...
I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
He was so capable of flat out, he could be the hero they wanted if they decided to make him that way. So today, because I can't stop rhyming, I have come up with an ode to Henry Cavill.
Okay, excellent.
All right, so I'm going to show images of Cavill on a Google image search, which means we're going to get taken down like in 40 different ways.
Awesome.
So I'll throw that up there. So I'm going to say this. I apologize. I've only read this out loud once, and you heard how badly the intro went. So here we go. Reports say we're losing our Kal-El. No, we're not talking about the guy from the Arrowverse. We're talking about Henry Cavill. Perhaps he's trying to avoid the Superman curse. Oh, movie universes, the DCEU had so few bright spots. The Batman was so very dumb. The one they called Cyborg was a device of the plot. Nearly everyone else was no fun. Man of Steel didn't look so good when released, but then all the other movies happened with stories as good as shit of geese. Henry Cavill is not to blame. He was just doing his job. It's not his fault he was directed to constantly be emo and sob. But there is one ray of hope for the once Kal-El. Maybe he'll find a new role over at Disney, at Studio Marvel.
Oh.
There we go.
He could definitely... There's a lot of roles he could pull off in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing.
There are a lot of roles.
When I started writing this, I'm like, wait a second.
Oh my God.
The way that Marvel can take character or actors and go, yeah, you know what? Johnny Storm, we got a role for you. Johnny Storm 2, we have another role for you.
Yeah.
If they can get a cast off like Henry Cavill,
oh my God.
He could be the whacked out version of Sentry who thinks he was Superman.
Oh, yes, Sentry's a great storyline.
He could be Superion. He could be... He doesn't even have to play that type. He can go any which way.
Yeah.
And it's... I'm trying to think... I mean, if they want to bring in... I wouldn't use him as Ghost Rider. They already have one of those on the television universe. Who would be a great Marvel character for Henry Cavill to play? Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments or on Twitter.
Yeah, give us some. There's got to be a ton of options.
I'm just trying to think of like who is their Superman, and obviously they have a Captain America, and they have we already have an Iron Man. We have all these characters now. Could Cavill be an awesome evil guy? Could he be Doctor Doom? Why not? We could use a Doctor Doom. I don't know how his accent is or his abilities to play different accents.
He does American well, considering he's not.
He should not be Mr. Fantastic. He's not lanky enough.
No.
Don't make him the thing because he should be seen. I'm trying to think. Maybe he's new Johnny Storm because they're like, okay, we have a void here. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I'm just trying to think of one Marvel character other than Superion. Or is it Hyperion? It's Hyperion, my bad. He's in Squadron Supreme. Excuse me. He was Hyperion. Who else could he be? Sentry, I think, is just kind of on the nose.
Yeah, Sentry's pretty perfect, actually.
Okay, guys, let us know who you think Henry Cavill should be once he joins the Marvel Universe. Because there's no way Disney's going to be that stupid. Oh, you know what? Cyclops. The Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're talking about X-Men universe, we got a couple he could be.
Magneto. He could be Mr. Sinister.
Young Mr. Sinister is
now.
good.
Now we're talking. Now we got something.
Now we got it. I like it.
You guys think about it. Let us know, because I am looking forward to this. I'm hoping, if he's going to be Superman, I hope they keep doing that. I hope they go in that correct way.
I hope he stays. I do hope he stays.
If he doesn't, Disney, get this guy.
Yeah, Disney, get on that.
Don't be confused if he's wearing a mustache, okay? It's okay. It's the same guy. With that, we'll see everybody next time.
Have a good one.